Hey guys, King Russell here, and welcome back to another episode of This Week in Gaming, or I should probably start saying Last Week in Gaming, because we're going to be talking about the week of August the 29th through September the 5th, so basically last week. There's quite a bit to get through here, mainly due to Nintendo's Nintendo Direct, which was last week. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. The first one that we have here is game announcements. That's the first category. And we're going to be talking about Metal Gear Solid 5, the definitive experience, which was announced. It's going to release on October the 11th in the US and October the 13th in the UK. It's going to be released on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It's going to be retailing for $49.99 in the US, and it's going to include Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, as well as Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, both of those with the full DLC for the DLC that's been released for those, and it's also going to include Metal Gear Online. And Konami's press release also stated that it's going to include additional mother base currency, so I guess the currency you use to upgrade your mother base, they're going to give you more of it, which is pretty interesting. This sounds like a really good collection if you never got to play the original game. Personally, I didn't, so this is definitely the version that you want to get, especially with that lowered price tag there. So yeah, this sounds really cool. I'll probably get this. I don't know if I'll get it like right off the bat, but that's a really awesome collection, and pretty exciting. The next one that we have here is System Shock 3 enters development. So if you don't know what System Shock 3 is, a lot of times it's credited as the spiritual successor to BioShock. BioShock, one of my favorite games of all time, so I'm definitely excited to see this game. I've never played the original System Shocks, but they are supposed to be very atmosphere heavy, and they're supposed to be very scary, so that's definitely exciting to see. There's not really much information out about it. The Other Side Entertainment announced this last week, and the head of the development team is actually going to be Warren Spector, who helped create the original System Shock. There are very scarce details about this, but they did announce that the actress who played the AI Shodan, who was the villain in the System Shock 2, I'm not sure if she was in System Shock 1. Usually people credit System Shock 2 as being a really good game. I don't hear that much about System Shock 1, but she's going to be back in the game. She's going to be reprising her role, I guess, so that's pretty awesome. So excited about that. The next one here is the start of the Nintendo Direct announcements. Like I said, there was a lot of them. This Nintendo Direct specifically was centered around 3DS titles, so not going to be any Wii U discussion really right here. So the first one that we have here is Super Mario Maker for the 3DS was announced. It's going to be coming out on December the 2nd. It's going to feature 100 Nintendo-made courses. And with the connection to the internet, you can play many of the courses that are built on Wii U. There are going to be several that you can't play. They didn't really go into specifics as to which ones these are going to be. I'm assuming they're going to be the ones with the mystery mushrooms, because here with this next announcement, the full Super Mario Maker course builder is going to be available in the game, aside from the mystery mushrooms, which are going to be exclusive to the Wii U. So I'm assuming any map that's going to include mystery mushrooms isn't going to be available in Super Mario Maker for the 3DS, which doesn't really make sense because most maps actually feature that feature. So there's going to be a lot of ones cut out if that is what they're going by. But that is a feature that will not be featured in this. Players can share their course via local multiplayer or Street Pass. So if you have friends with this game, you can share them like that. You can also collaborate with friends by sending them partially unfinished courses and having them complete it, and then it's going to show a little icon that says that it was a collaboration project. So that's pretty interesting, pretty neat. They also announced, or I guess, so the way they announced it is you can share these locally or you can share them with Street Pass. So I'm assuming there's not going to be any online connectivity with this or any like online sharing features with this. So I'm assuming you can't just post these to the service that they have on Mario Maker for the Wii U. So I'm assuming you can't do that because they didn't talk about that at all. So I'm assuming that's something that you cannot do with this version. So that seems like a real setback. The Wii U version obviously reigns supreme in this because that is a real setback. That's something that I really liked about the Wii U version, and if they don't have it in this, that seems like a real detriment to this part or to this title. But again, this came from the Nintendo Direct, and this Nintendo Direct did focus on 3DS projects. The next one that we have here is Poochyena and Yoshi's Woolly World was announced for the 3DS. Now, this was announced also during the Nintendo Direct. It's going to come out for the 3DS on February the 3rd, 2017. The game will feature every stage from the Wii U version, as well as a few new stages just for Poochie. The game will feature a series of stop-motion animated shorts. I think they said there's going to be 30 of them, if I remember correctly. And the same day that this comes out, there's also going to be a Yarn Poochie amiibo, which they didn't disclose the functionality of it, but they did announce that it was going to come as either separate or you can get it in the game as a bundle. So, the Poochie kind of segments, they showed them off a little bit. I don't really remember them very well, so I'm not going to talk about them, I guess. But, yeah, that's the only real change up is the Poochie segments. They also announced that there's going to be like little Poochie dolls that follow you around, and you can send them, and they'll help you to find secrets. So those are the only differences with this version and the Wii U version, but it doesn't look very good on the 3DS. They showed it off a little bit. But that also, I don't think I mentioned this, but you can find the Nintendo Direct down in the links below if you want to watch it. It's about a half an hour long, so pretty interesting stuff if you're into the 3DS. The next one that we have here is Mario Sports Superstars was announced for the 3DS. It was also announced during Nintendo Direct. It's going to feature 5 playable sports, including soccer, baseball, tennis, golf, and horse racing. It's going to feature single-player tournaments as well as local and online multiplayer. Soccer is going to be you'll be able to play it as 11 versus 11. There's not that many characters that you see in it. I think they fill in most of the characters with little Koopas. They were blue and small. You can see it in the trailer if you watch the trailer, but yeah, looks pretty interesting. It looks like these are all the sports are pretty much going to function like their bigger specific counterparts, like Super Mario Tennis, stuff like that. But the horse racing one actually looks pretty interesting. It reminds me of Witcher 3 for whatever reason. I guess because that's pretty much the only game that I've ever played horse racing in. So that's pretty interesting. And that's going to come out spring of 2017. The next one that we have here is the last one that they announced during the conference. Or not, I guess just Nintendo Direct. The last one that they announced during that. And that was Pikmin. A new Pikmin game was announced for the 3DS. And this is going to be the first Pikmin game that's ever going to come to handheld. So that's pretty interesting. The game is scheduled to come out sometime in 2017. It's going to be a side-scroller as opposed to the open 3D world. And it's going to focus more on action than the past games, I guess. Players will tap the screen and aim to throw their Pikmin, and if you watch the Direct, you can see that these screens, they kind of stretch from the top to the bottom screen. It's just all one screen, pretty much. So that's pretty interesting. It looks pretty cool. I've never played a Pikmin game personally, but they announced that the water, they announced 3 different types of Pikmin: red, yellow, and blue. Red is immune to fire. Blue is immune to water, I want to say. I don't remember, and yellow is immune to electricity. Looks pretty interesting. If you're into the Pikmin, you might enjoy that. Like I said, more action-based. So that was that one. The next one is Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour was announced. This game will be available October 11th for the Xbox One, PS4, and PC. The game will include the entire original Duke Nukem 3D, along with 8 new levels, which is going to be, I guess, Act 5, I think they said it was going to be. They're going to be updating the audio for the game, I guess, but not the visuals. The visuals look very similar to the original game. They might have tweaked them a little bit, but they're still very similar. And never having played Duke Nukem game before, I don't really have much input on this one, but the community seems about half and half. It seems like half of them would rather have a complete remaster, sort of like Doom, or half of them are very excited for this because they want to see this happen. I think it's pretty interesting that they're actually going back and retroactively putting in a whole new act. And they said they got I think they got all of the original, writers for the thing, for the original game to come back and write the Act 5, which is pretty cool. So if you're interested in Duke Nukem, you probably want to check that one out. The link for that is also in the description below for the video, for the trailer. That's also in the description below. There were no hardware announcements this week that I saw personally, so the next one that we have here is game announcements. Again, more from the 3DS mainly. Animal Crossing New Leaf got some new info. This game came out back in 2013, and it's getting a free update. The update is going to be coming out December the 2nd, and it's going to add amiibo functionality as well as some new features. Animal Crossing amiibo features and cards will be compatible with this game now, along with select figures from other franchises. No info on which series they were talking about with this, so I don't really have much information about what other franchises they were talking about. In addition to that, they're also going to update with a new wave of 50 new amiibo cards, which will be coming also on, I assume, December the 2nd. And these cards, they're going to be featuring characters that have not been seen in Animal Crossing New Leaf, as well as interior designs for those characters' mobile homes. So I don't really know anything about Animal Crossing, but it's going to feature characters that I assume were in other Animal Crossing games but have not been in New Leaf. And you can buy those cards, and you'll have those characters come to your world in New Leaf, and you can ask them to stay, I think, is what happened in the trailer. I'm not sure. They also announced that a new package for New Leaf titled Animal Crossing New Leaf Welcome Amiibo will be coming out on that same day. And with this version, you'll be gifted a new Amiibo card from the 50 that we just talked about, and it's also going to be available this holiday. I guess not exactly on December 2nd, but sometime this holiday, that is also going to be available. They also announced an Animal Crossing mini direct will be coming to update or to give you more of the new features that they're going to be adding with this update, as well as the new Welcome Amiibo kind of project that they're doing. So that's pretty interesting. That was also announced during the Nintendo Direct. The next one that we have here is Pokemon Sun and Moon information. So during the Nintendo Direct, they talked about this. They also gave a new trailer on the Pokemon channel if you want to go check that out. I have that link in the description below specifically for this one. And there was a little bit announced, not very much. The first thing that was announced was there's a new Alola region variant for Rattata. He's going to be a dark normal type Pokemon, and he trades in his signature purple coat for a black one. He's also got, his whiskers are gone. He's got kind of like a mustache kind of thing. I don't know. He looks pretty interesting. Something that's interesting, though, is they didn't mention an Alolan Raticate, which I find pretty interesting. Usually, I can't really... Like with Sandshrew, they announced Sandslash as the Alolan Regent variant. So they announced both of those, and with Vulpix, they announced Ninetales. So it's kind of interesting that they didn't announce Raticate with this. So I don't know if they're actually going to give Raticate an Alolan transformation, or if they're going to keep the same Raticate, or if Rattata's not going to evolve anymore. I don't know. I just found it pretty interesting that they didn't really mention that. They also announced what the pre-order incentives are going to be, or the early purchase incentives, I guess. You're going to get a free Munchlax with Snorlium Z, and whenever your Munchlax evolves into Snorlax, you'll be able to use this Snorlium Z, and you can see what happens in the trailer. He uses this move called Pulverizing Pancake, and they talked a little bit more about Z moves as well. Z moves are going to be like really powerful attacks, I guess. I don't know. They seem like they're taking the place of Mega Transformations, so that's pretty interesting. I don't know. I am going to do a complete coming soon episode on Pokemon Sun and Moon, because I want to know more about that, but that's going to be in October, so if you guys want to check that out, make sure you stay tuned. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. They have an actual trailer out for that one, so if you want to check that, that will be in the description below. The next one that we have down here is Horde mode for Gears of War 4 was revealed. Horde mode will be returning with 5 players co-op as players battle 50 waves of Swarm and DBs. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what DBs are, but Swarm and DBs with bosses coming every 10 waves. A new class-based system is going to be introduced, which will include the roles of Soldier, Sniper, Scout, Heavy, and Engineer. These were all shown in the trailer. A new Fabricator option is also being added, to which you will be able to build defenses anywhere you want to, as opposed to static locations as they were in the before games. So you can put turrets or whatever anywhere on the map that you please. You don't have to build them in specific locations. They also said that gear cards can be now used in the mode, and they will allow players to add bonuses to their characters, such as improving their damage on specified weapons or other such buffs. The premiere trailer for this mode is in the description below, so if you want to check that out, I think it was only like 2 minutes, I want to say. Not very long, but it was pretty interesting. If you enjoyed Horde mode in the past games, then you'll probably enjoy this one as well. The next one that we have here is quite a bit of information for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. The multiplayer was revealed, and they announced a beta for it. The beta is going to go live on October 14th for the PS4, and the Xbox version will follow that. The beta is going to be available for those who pre-order the game, so you have to pre-order the game in order to get into the beta. The beta will not be available on the PC. There was also a reveal trailer for multiplayer, which was shown this past week. The multiplayer for it doesn't look terrible, actually. It's still very futuristic, but it doesn't look like it's going to be in space. It seems like it's going to be more traditional than I thought it was going to be. But they have similarities in each of these abilities. They announced, they showed off these characters, and the characters seem to have classes. I missed a line there, but the characters seem to have classes. They aren't exactly specialists, but they're a lot like specialists. They are, I think they're called rigs, is what they're calling them. But I guess your character goes into these rigs and it takes on different roles. They had, I believe, 6. I can't think of what they were off the top of my head, but they talked about 3 of them in this kind of like discussion that they had. They had a trailer and then they had a discussion. It was like 8 minutes long for a discussion of what multiplayer, what they're adding and stuff like that. So they talked a little bit about multiplayer. It seems interesting. The gameplay seemed very similar to Black Ops 3. By looking at it, there was wall running, and thrust jumping. And if you want to watch that trailer, it's down in the description below. That's the actual trailer if you want to find the developer kind of discussion. It wasn't really a discussion. It was just kind of them talking about the trailer while you're watching the trailer. They gave you a little bit more like insight into what's happening in the trailer. But yeah, they announced 6 classes. The only one I could think of off the top of my head was like Sniper. It wasn't called Sniper, but it was like Ghost, I want to say. I don't know. But he could turn invisible, and he was like a sniper class, sort of. But that was pretty interesting. And yeah, that was there. That was also this week, Infinite Warfare. So the next one that we have here is 16 Call of Duty 4 maps are getting remastered. All 16 of the original Call of Duty 4 maps will now be getting remastered. The first 10 remastered maps will come at the game's launch, and the final 6 will be available for free sometime in December. Remember that the Call of Duty 4 Remaster will only be available to people who purchase the Legacy, Legacy Pro, and Digital Deluxe editions for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, so you have to get those editions of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare if you want this game. In my opinion, that's pretty low. I think Call of Duty 4 Remastered would actually outsell Infinite Warfare if that weren't the case. But yeah, I think the Legacy Collection is $80, I want to say, so if you want this game, you're going to have to pay $80 for it, basically. But yeah, it's cool that they are going to be giving you all the maps, because initially they were only planning on doing 10, but they are going to be doing all the maps, and they will be giving them to you for free if you buy Infinite Warfare and get this game with it. I assume this game will probably be eventually available to everyone who didn't buy Infinite Warfare, but they have no plans of that they've announced. Yeah, so if you want this right off the bat, you're probably going to have to buy the $80. So that kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? The next thing that we have here is release dates, and there were only 3 of them. The first one was the physical version of Hitman was announced. The release date was announced. It's going to be coming out January the 31st, 2017. It's going to cost $60 in North America and for the console, and it's going to be $50 on the PC, so looks like PC is getting a discount there. The disc will come under the name Hitman the complete first season, and it will feature all the locations in season 1. I think there were like 8 or something like that. I didn't write them down, but there are like 8 of them. So if you want to get the physical edition of that, you can. The next one that we have here is Batman: The Telltale Series Episode 2. Release date was announced. It's going to be coming out on September the 20th for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And the subtitle for it is going to be Children of Arkham. And Telltale also gave release dates, or they also confirmed that release dates for the platforms that were not announced, such as like the PS3 and Xbox 360 and whatever else mobile. They'll be revealed later this month, so they'll come out at a later date, I assume. So yeah, that was announced. The next one that we have here is Firewatch for Xbox One. Release date was announced. It's going to be releasing on Xbox One on September the 21st. A major free update will be available for all systems on the same day as that game releases on Xbox One. The update will introduce 100 kiosks and tapes in the game and explain Firewatch's development. So that's pretty interesting. This behind-the-scenes tour will be built into the game, and set pieces built within the game will offer a look at various assets of the world. I do own Firewatch. I enjoyed this game quite a bit. It was kind of short. I think it was around 2 to 3 hours, but the story was interesting enough to keep me entertained. So if you are, it's kind of a walking simulator. If you're into walking simulators, you might want to check this one out. I think I got it for $20, but it was a pretty good game. And this is a pretty interesting update. I like to see that, especially since it's free. So I'd like to play that. I'll probably go ahead and download that and play that back. So that's pretty cool. The next one that we have here, or the next category that we have here, is delays, and there was only one that I saw this week, which was pretty awesome, which is Gran Turismo Sport got delayed to 2017. The game was initially set to release on November 15th in Japan and North America, November 16th in Australia, and November 18th in the UK. A new release date has not been announced, but the developer cited the reason for the delay as needed time in order to perfect GT Sport. I don't really have anything to say about this because I'm not that big of a fan of sports games, but that was delayed. The next category that we have here is DLC, and there were two things for DLC. The first one is a new Uncharted 4 map is now available, or multiplayer map is now available. The map is named New Devon and is available as part of the titles update version 1.12. So if you download that update, then you'll get this map. The New Devon, I think it was the final location of the game where Henry Avery's kind of pirate haven was. So that's pretty interesting. I haven't played the multiplayer for that game in quite a while. So that's pretty interesting. If you're still a fan and still playing that game right now, then that is available to you. So the next one that we have here is Hyrule Warrior Legends. The third DLC was announced. This is going to feature a new weapon for Toon Link from Spirit Tracks, which allows him to summon a train, and he throws out giant blocks. I don't know. I never played Spirit Tracks, so I don't understand the weapon, but looks pretty cool within the context of Hyrule Warriors. And they also announced that a playable Toon Zelda will be available, and it's going to be playable mainly. It looked like she's going to be inhabiting this bulky armor, and she'll be able to control that armor, and she smacks around. I don't know. She has different moves, but that is going to be available as well. And it also announced that there's going to be 15 new My Fairy costume pieces, a new adventure mode map, and a new adventure battle, and 2 new challenge battles. So that's pretty interesting. The DLC is available now and costs $6.99 for the 3DS only and $9.99 for both the Wii U and 3DS as a bundle. So if you enjoyed Hyrule Warriors Legends and you want to go and get this one, that is out right now. That was also announced during the Nintendo Direct, so if you want to go watch the trailer for that, that is there, or I'm sure you can find it by itself online somewhere, but that is there. And this is the last category that we have, and it's bonus, so just a few things that I want to talk about. There's only 2. PlayStation Now is now available on the PC in the US. I talked about this last week. It came out in Europe, and I said that it should be coming out relatively soon in the US, and it's actually out right now. Now available as an app on the PC in the US. PlayStation Now subscribers can go to the official PS Now page and download this app. The link for that page is below if you guys have PlayStation Now. I personally don't, but I guess you can play PlayStation 3 games on your PC now, which is pretty cool. Kind of a weird transition, I think, but I don't know. I would think they would want to keep that on the PlayStation just to kind of draw more people, but I guess they'll make more money this way, so people who don't actually own a PlayStation can play those games on the PC. So, pretty interesting. If you want to check that out, then, like I said, the link for the, if you already have PlayStation Now, the link for that is down below, and you can check that out. They announced this via their PlayStation blog, so I guess I'll put both the blog and the link for the PlayStation Now subscription, whatever, down below. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check that out. And the last one that we have for today is PlayStation Plus announced their free games for September. There's going to be 3 for PS4. Lords of the Fallen is going to come out on the PS4. Journey for the PS4 and PS3. Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands for the PS3. I think this was a PlayStation 2 game. I don't really remember this game because it came out so long ago. I don't know, but that was one that was announced. I think that's the one I'm thinking of, but it got good reviews back in the day, if that's the one I'm thinking of, but it's pretty old at this point. But yeah, that was one. That one's coming out on PS3. Data Burra for the PS3. I think that's how you say it. It's a first-person action game, and you're going to explore a forest. I don't know. It looked pretty interesting. I think they had PlayStation Move controllers with it. I think it was a PlayStation Move game, which I guess is compatible with the Move. I assume you don't have to use the Move, but that was there if you want to check that out. The next one is Badlands for the PlayStation Vita and the PS4 and PS3. Comes out on all the system, I guess. It got pretty good reviews. It's a puzzle game. Kind of reminded me of Limbo. I know they have a Badlands Game of the Year edition, I think, on the Xbox One. I'm pretty sure I've seen it on there before. But yeah, that one, that's also coming out. And the next one is Amnesia Memories for the PS Vita exclusive. This is not the horror game Amnesia, which is what I was thinking it was going to be, which would have been pretty awesome. But it's actually a visual novel via Wikipedia, is what Wikipedia said about it. It looks like a JRPG, but it's not a JRPG. I guess it's just a visual novel with Japanese like illustrations. So those are the games for that. Lords of the Fallen, I actually own that. That game is pretty awesome. Journey is supposed to be amazing. I've heard nothing but good things about Journey. I've never gotten to play it, so that's pretty awesome. And I wouldn't mind going back and trying Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. That game's really old now, but pretty interesting. So those are the PlayStation games for September. The Xbox One games are actually in my last week's game. This week in gaming, so if you want to see those, you can go ahead and go back to that. But anyways, that was all the news that we had for this week. If you enjoyed this, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be coming back with this for next week. The next video that I actually plan on doing will be for Paper Mario Color Splash. I'm going to be doing a coming soon episode on that, which is basically where I just break down all the information that I can find for that game, break it down and kind of break it into categories of gameplay, story, or not. That's reviews. What? I don't remember what I break it down into, but I'm going to break that down. So if you want to watch that, that'll be coming out on the 7th. So pretty soon, 2 days actually. So if you want to watch that, go ahead and make sure you subscribe, and I will be doing that in 2 days. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.